Hi there and welcome to your yoga class. Today we're going to be doing spinal mobility, suitable for all levels, and it's all about getting your spine moving in every which way to encourage the mobility of your spine and give it a nice stretch, maybe encourage a wee bit of traction as well, a little bit of space between the vertebrae if we can. So as I say, suitable for everybody, and there's variants as well to every single pose. So let's get started, but we're going to start in a seated position, okay? So just get comfortable, feel your sit bones on the mat, okay? So you're just sitting with your shoulders relaxed, relax your jaw as well, and you can shut your eyes at this point too if you want to, because we're just going to be doing just a little bit of breathing to start our practice today. And we're going to try and breathe through our nose if you can, in and out through your nose, really nice big deep belly breaths, okay? So just get your breathing going, slow it down just a little bit and relax. And whilst you're sitting there, you're concentrate on your sit bones on the mat, feel them equal on the mat, okay? Even if you have to sort of pull out your skin at the side there, that's fine, as long as it helps you feel your bottom on the mat even more. And of course, we need to think about the spine. So imagine there's a big bit of string pulling you up towards the ceiling, okay? And this is our first movement of the spine. We are lengthening the spine. It's called axial extension, and it basically means sitting up nice and straight and lengthening it out as much as possible. We'll do this more throughout the class as well, but it's a good starting point. So really feel like you're being pulled up, really feel like you're lengthening. And anytime we do yoga, we are concentrating always on lengthening first before coming into any sort of pose to encourage a little bit of space and all that sort of thing. So just concentrate on that breathing, try and equalise it, okay? That's all you're doing, because our focus is to just centre and start our practice, but it's also on our spine, and it will be for the class. So this is really going to be great for you if you sit at a desk all day. If you've got some back pain as well, this might be good enough to release it. And sometimes we just get sore and achy backs just from kind of repetitive movement or lack of movement as well. It really just depends on your lifestyle. So it's going to help you regardless of what you do. And if you play sports and things like that, even better. So get that breath nice and relaxed, with your eyes shut if you like, constantly just lengthening the spine out. And you're not bending your back, we're not arching our back, we are as if you're sitting against a wall. That's the sort of shape really that your spine is kind of making from the side, nice and long. So a couple of breaths more, and then we're going to do a seated version of a cat-cow. So I'll turn to the side to show you what I mean. Now you can be on your knees here as well. If you've got your legs crossed, it means your hips are opening up, and it gives you a wee bit of a stretch there. But if it's really not comfortable, you can sit on your knees, no problem at all. So have your hands on your knees. We're going to do a seated cat-cow, the one that you normally do kind of in your hands and your knees. And so this is the start of us starting to move our spine in different ways. So first of all, we're going to flex the spine, okay, which means we are going to come forward, okay? So we're going to exhale, push our back the way, okay? Because normally we'd be on our all fours and we're pushing it to ceiling, but just push it back and really hunch your shoulders round, okay? So a nice flexion to the back. Your spine's going this way now. So we've gone up the way, and now our spine is flexing this way. Really stretch it out. And then we're going to extend it, okay? So we're going to come into cow. So push your chest forward and up, okay? Really open up the chest. Tilt your chin up. Don't throw your head back. And inhale while we're doing this. So we're going to do it a bit slower than usual, okay? So we're going to come back into cat, exhaling, really concentrating on the quality of your movement, and then inhaling back up to cow. That's it. Really nice and slow. Okay, flexing and extending, waking your spine up. And if you try and picture your spine in your head, it's such an intricate part of the body. I don't need to tell you that it does a lot of things. So by doing this, we're just encouraging the mobility, waking it up. You might be doing this first thing in the morning, and it will really wake your spine up. So a few of these, just remember to inhale on the way up and exhale on the way down. That's it, lovely. And then coming back to a neutral spine. Now when I say a neutral spine, it's that straight spine that we did at first, okay? Long piece of string pulling you up, okay? When I used to go horse riding as a kid, when I was having lessons, that's what they always said, is imagine that bit of golden string pulling you up. So the same applies here, okay? So this is a neutral spine, all right? Tempting to slump, I know, but engage your core and really concentrate on extending it, okay? So already we've done 3 different ways that our spine can move, okay? So now we are just going to give our shoulders a little bit of a roll, loosen up the top half of our body. So bring your shoulders up to your ears and then back and down. Really nice big shoulder rolls. Really nice. Concentrating on opening your chest on the way back and stretching your back on the way forward, okay? And go forward and back just a few times. It's just to loosen up. And that's it. Sitting with your nice neutral spine. But let's extend it as well, all right? That's it. Lovely. So let's go on to another way to move our spine. And we're doing all this really, really gently, although we're moving it in lots and lots of different ways. So we're going to do some twists, okay? So extending your spine first of all. So inhale, create that space because we're about to move, and you're going to take your left hand, put it in your right knee and put your other hand behind you. Now you're going to come into a twist. Now turn your head as much as is comfortable for you. Okay, you might be looking behind you, you might be looking to the side. But as long as your seat bones are square, you're going to be getting a lovely rotation in your spine, okay? So if your head is turned down a little bit more, you're obviously going to be encouraging the cervical part of your spine to twist as well. But that's not, just go as far as is comfortable for you. Taking nice deep breaths, crawling your hand round at the back if there's a little bit more room there. Nice deep breaths. Lovely, and coming back round to the front slowly. We need to go to the other side. So first, lengthen up the way, remember. And then other hand in your other knee, right hand in your left knee, and then coming round. So again, really good for releasing low back pain as well. Nothing should be painful when we're doing this at all. A wee bit of discomfort is okay when you're stretching, but no pain whatsoever. And if in doubt, consult your GP or physician before you start. So feeling that rotation, and not only is our spine getting a really nice rotation here, where those internal organs are getting a lovely massage as well. They're all getting squished and turned and generally just waking them up just a little bit more. So really good if you've got a bit of a sluggish digestion or all these sorts of things. So it kind of wakes everything up at the same time. So we've done our twists, we have gone backwards and we've gone forwards, and we're going to go to the side now, a lateral movement, okay? So your left hand is going to come up, other hand can go on the floor, and you're going to reach up first of all, remember, then come to the side. So you aren't leaning forward, you aren't leaning back, you are keeping your body nice and straight and lengthened, but you're coming over to the side. And as a result, your spine is going in a sideways motion. Now you can look ahead, or if you want to, you can look up, but keep that left shoulder back, okay? Because that helps you to keep up nice and straight. Lovely, and then bring the left hand to the floor. Now don't dump your weight on the hand that's on the floor, fingertips or a light touch, okay? Right hand up, and then coming over, really concentrating on keeping those seat bones. Don't let the right seat bone come off the floor, because then that'll compromise your stretch and your spinal movement a little bit. And it doesn't matter how far you come over, we don't need to be touching the floor or anything like that. All we're trying to do is get our spine moving. Lovely, and coming back up. So let's go on to our hands and our knees now. Okay, now let's do a couple of normal cat-cows to begin with. So align yourself first of all, hips are over your knees, shoulders are over your wrists. Okay, toes can be tucked or untucked, and start with a neutral spine here, okay? So you're tucking your core in as it is, and your tummy button is coming back to your spine, okay? And then we're going to do the same as we did when we were sitting down, but on our hands and knees. So inhaling, tummy comes to the floor and your head comes up into cow position. And then exhale, push that back up to the ceiling. Tuck your chin into your chest. And inhaling in the way up, exhaling in the way down, flexing and extending the spine again. So your shoulders and your hips and all that, they're all staying the same. It's your torso and your spine that's doing all the work here. Lovely. Backwards and forwards. And now we're going to change it a little bit, okay? So we're going to do cat-cows, okay? But a little bit differently. So come back to that neutral spine. I'll face round this way. And we're just going to go side to side, okay? So what you're going to do is you're going to inhale, come round one way. Try and keep your torso nice and sort of, or your hips nice and straight, so that you're getting that lateral bend again in your spine. So inhale round to one side, exhale back to the middle. Inhale round to the other side, exhale back to the middle. So it's a nice sideways stretch, this one. Okay, nothing else is moving, as long as you're inhaling round to one side, exhaling back to the middle. Lovely. And then back again. So we're just really trying to keep the spine moving, keep it moving in all sorts of ways. So stay in that tabletop position. Okay, never be afraid to realign yourself, shuffle about, get in the right position. And we're going to put the right foot back, okay, so onto your tiptoes at the back here. All right, and what we're going to do is a wee rock. Now you can stay here if you want to, but while you're here, your right foot's back, so keep everything else equal, okay? Don't be sort of leaning onto the one side, it's really tempting. And we're going to rock back and forward, just like that. Nice, small movements. Rocking back and forward, keeping that spine nice and straight, keeping the tummy button tucked into the spine as well, okay? And then come to a stop, and you're going to take that right foot, cross it over, so it's coming behind your left foot now, as far as you want to, okay? It doesn't have to go right round to the side, it might just be over to the other side a little bit, but it's crossing over, okay? And staying there. Nice straight spine. So we're encouraging a bit of a lateral curve. Kind of lower down here, and you'll feel a stretch in your lower back while you're doing this as well. So bring it back round to the beginning again and bring it back in. Same on the other side. So left foot out, that's it, extend it, and then you're going to rock back and forward. So we're getting a really nice wee calf stretch, hamstring stretch here as well. That's it, back and forward. You can stay still if you want to, just easing it off, and then coming to a standstill and bringing that left foot behind you, because your spine is, you're trying to keep your spine nice and straight, but by bringing that behind you, you're giving your side a stretch here, but you're also giving your lower back a little bit of release as well. We're not rocking this time, we're just staying absolutely still. Lovely. And then bring it back round again and in, okay? So now keeping your hips above your knees, what you're going to do, we're going to come into puppy dog pose. So walk your hands forward, lead with your chest, okay? And bring your chest to the floor. Now it might not reach the floor, okay? But put your head on the floor, chin on the floor, head might be on a block as well, okay? What we're looking here for is the extension in the back. So you'll feel this like a small back bend. And you'll also feel the flexion in the front of your body. So it's a nice stretch for the front of the body as well as getting the spine moving. And it should feel really, really nice. So go as far as is comfortable for you, and you'll feel this underneath your shoulders here as well. So just take a nice 5 breaths here. Okay, nice breathing. Try and relax your hips. Your toes can be tucked or untucked, whatever you find best for balance. Just pushing that chest to the floor. Nice, slow 5 breaths. Nice and deep. Finding a little bit of stillness. That's it. So, just walking your hands back up again. Okay, we're going to come into a child's pose. So put your big toes together and your knees out wide, okay? Bring your bottom back to your heels as much as you can and put your head on the mat, okay? So, we're in a child's pose here, but don't get too comfortable. We're not going for a sleep. Head's on the mat. You might have a blanket underneath your bum if your bum's not quite making it, but you don't have to. So hands are out to the front, but we're going to have active hands today. Of course we are. We're not relaxing just yet. Okay, head is on the mat, okay? And what to do is come up on your fingertips when you inhale. Up on your fingertips, and then exhale, stretch them forward a little bit more, okay? So keep doing that, inhaling up on your fingertips, very lightly, exhaling, stretching. Now when you've reached your limit, which you will, just stay there and take a nice few breaths. And feel it, and extending your back, or lengthening your back, I should say, out in front. And we're gonna go to the side, okay? So, from here, okay, we're in this position at the moment. We're going to inhale, come up at our fingertips, and you're going to walk them over to the left. Okay, keep those hips square, and then come down, just like we did before. But remember, we're going to inhale up, and this time you're coming round to the side and out as well. So you're adding in that sideways movement. Keep those hips in the same position. You'll find you get a really nice stretch on your right hand shoulder as well, on your side. But again, we're moving sideways. So keep inhaling up in your fingertips, coming round to the right as far as you can go. And just taking a couple of breaths here. Really feeling the movement in your spine. Don't let that right buttock come off of your heel or come higher than where it is. And then coming back round, just walking round slowly, and we're going to go to the other side. So inhaling up in your fingertips. Exhale, come round to the right now. So we're getting a really nice curve in the spine, but we're also stretching our glutes here and our hip flexors. You'll find that in your hip flexors as well. So it's not just about the spine, we're moving everything else as well, stretching everything else while we can. So keep inhaling and coming round until you reach your limit. Watch that left bottom cheek. Lovely, and then coming back round to the beginning again. We're just going to slowly just come up, okay? And we're going to come up to our first downward dog of the day. So put your hands, come into tabletop first. If you're ever unsure about downward dog, come into tabletop first and tuck your toes, okay? Now pop your bum straight up first of all, and then come back. And then you can do all your adjusting. You might want to bring your hands further forward. And then we're going to stretch the legs first of all, okay? So your knees might be bent here. Now, we're going to concentrate in the back today, or the spine. So let's try and get a nice straight spine. A lot of the time when we find downward dog challenging, our legs are straight and our back's a bit like this, okay? So concentrate on pressing your chest sort of down and back. And if that means bending your legs, then so be it, because look how nice and straight the spine is here. Because what we can do is always work on straightening those legs. That can come later. That's not the priority. So for every downward dog you do, bend your knees if you need to. So let's pedal it out a little bit. So keep that nice straight back and pedal it out. And you might have very bent knees. That's absolutely fine. Heels do not need to be at the floor. Your feet are pointing forward as well, and you're pushing the front of the mat away with your hands. Tailbones nice and high. Make sure your downward dog's not too short as well. It's a wee bit cheating. It's a wee bit easier when it's shorter. That's it. Nice deep breath. So let's start walking towards our hands very slowly. Now keep those hands on the floor, so bend your knees the further you come in. If it gets too much, bend your knees and keep your feet hip width apart, okay? So knees are still bent. We're going to hold on to the inside of our elbows. And what we're going to do here is a ragdoll pose. So let your head hang down, okay? You're pretty loose from your hips right up to your head. It's you know, we want it loose. Sway side to side, give your head a wiggle if you want. Think of it all nice and loose. Even lean in your thighs like I'm doing if you want. Or you don't have to have them quite as bent. There might be more room doing it this way. And what we're doing here is encouraging a little bit of length, just in a different way. Our head's down the way this time. And hopefully encouraging a little bit of traction in the spine. So encouraging a little bit of space. That's all it is. The tiniest wee amounts of space by using gravity rather than hanging upside down from our roofs. This is the closest we'll get. That's it. So
putting your hands on the floor, just bend your knees and you're going to tuck your core in and slowly roll up, especially after hanging about there for a little bit. And rolling right up, coming to the front of your mat, and we're going to stand in mountain pose, okay? So you're facing the front of your mat. I'm just turning to the side so that you can see. So your big toes are together, okay? And your heels are about an inch or so apart, all right? Your shoulders are nice and relaxed, okay? And have a focus on your feet. Mountain pose looks really straightforward. You think, let's just standing still. And it does just look like that sometimes, but it is in reality a little bit more to it than that, because it really helps us ground ourselves, because we're standing there, we're not moving, we're not trying to balance or anything like that. And it's really good for aligning your body. Our bodies can be really out of alignment sometimes, you know, with carrying bags, carrying children, all these sorts of things. So it's really good just to reset. So you're turning your thighs in the way, so you're sort of rolling them in as much as you can. Shoulders are nice and relaxed, and you're just staring forward, sort of on the floor in front of you. And try and feel the four corners of your feet. Your weight should be equal on your feet here. And you know what I'm going to say? Let's try and lengthen that spine as much as we can. No bendy backs. Your pelvis is tilted back a little bit. We're not sort of tilting it forward and bending our back. Lovely length in the spine. And just take nice deep breaths. Just 3 breaths here, that's all it is. Because how often do we stand and try and align ourselves in a standing position? Probably not very often. So from here we're going to do some standing twists. I'll move to the middle of the mat to show you a little bit more. So you're in this sort of position, okay? Now we're going to inhale, raise our hands up. You know what I'm going to say? Lengthen, first of all. And then what we're going to do is we're going to bring our left hand forward, right hand back. So try and keep those hips pointing forward, okay? So hips pointing forward, hands are out. One left hand to the front, right hand to the back. Then inhale back to the beginning again, and then exhale out to the other side. So it is quite hard. We just don't want you turning around like this. Try and keep your hips. It's to get the spinal rotation in there. Okay, inhale up again. Exhale, coming out. So another couple. Inhale, exhale. Lovely. Stretches your shoulders as well. Watch those hips. Inhale, one more to each side, lengthening the way up. That's it. And then inhale and exhale. Lovely. That's it. And coming back to the beginning, just standing with your hands in prayer pose. So we're going to do a wee chair pose here as well, okay? And it's really good for just sort of concentrating on what the lower back is doing. So have your feet hip width apart if you want, or feet together. If they're hip width apart, there's a little bit more balance there. So hips and knees are coming back as if you're sitting on a chair, okay? So you should always be able to see your toes and your weight is in your heels, okay? So hands in prayer position, and you're just going to bend your knees as much as you can. That might just be a tiny wee bit, but don't come down too deep yet, okay? Bend your knees now. See what's happening here? See more I bend my knees, look at my lower back. That's not what we want, okay? What we want to do, think of our pelvis, okay? So if I come down like that, my pelvis at the moment is tilted forward, okay? And that's what's causing the bend. So what you need to do is tilt the pelvis, protect that lower back, and look how straight it looks now. So this is absolutely fine. My knees are behind my toes. You can lift your toes off the floor. Weights in the heels. I can feel my glutes turning on here, and my back is nice and straight. And if you can keep the lower back, you can come down lower, absolutely, but don't be doing this. This is not a chair pose, okay? Because you're really leaving your lower back vulnerable. So distance to the floor doesn't matter. What we need to do is a nice proper chair pose. That's it. Lovely. And then pushing back up again. So let's try coming down into that again. Remember your lower back, okay? Because it's really tempting, because you can come lower if you just bend your back and come down with it. We do back bends in yoga, but not when we're doing this pose. So coming down again. If you feel that lower back, this bum sticking out a bit too much, tilt it. So this pelvis is then getting tilted back the way rather than forward, okay? So your core's, everything's working in this pose. Shoulders nice and relaxed, okay? You might not be down that far, but if you feel you can take it down a bit further, then take it down a bit further. That's absolutely fine. Keep that lower back protected.
by tilting the pelvis. Because it's all connected, remember? That's it. And then coming back up again. Lovely. So from here, let's step to the front of the mat, okay? And what we're going to do is step back with our left foot. So put your hand on your hips, step back with your left foot. So you're now in a high lunge. Now, width-wise, you're about hip width apart for your feet, okay? Don't be in a straight line, because then that makes it a whole lot harder, okay? Front knee is bent, knees over the ankle, okay? It's definitely not in front of the feet. We don't want this. Okay, and back leg, if you can have it straight with a straight back, then have it straight. But what we don't want is straightening this and then your back becomes curved, okay? You're better bending the back knee and see how it straightens it up a little bit more, and reach up with your hands, okay? Really reach up with your fingers. You can look up if you want to, you can straighten that back leg, but we're focusing on lengthening the spine at the moment. Pressing into the floor. Now if you need to, you can come down in that back knee. That's no problem at all if you're just finding it a little bit too much. That's it. And then coming back down, put your hands on either side of your foot at the front. So we're in a low lunge now, okay? And again, sending the crown of the head forward, dropping the hips as much as you can. Again, you can put your back knee down, and what we're going to do is plant our hands, take this right foot and come back to plank pose, okay? Now, nice straight plank pose, bum isn't up, we don't want a saggy bum either. Who wants a saggy bum? That's it, pushing into the mat, knees can be down, remember? That's it, but lengthening out the spine. Then you can put your knees down to lower down if you want, keep your elbows in, lower to the floor. Lovely. So we're now on the floor. We're going to come up to a Sphinx pose. Really nice pose for the spine. So elbows onto the mat, top of the feet on the floor, and you'll feel this immediately in your lower back. So in terms of your elbows, they can be at that 90-degree angle like this, or if it's too much, just slide them forward a bit. So open up your shoulders, press your feet into the floor, and feel that in your lower back. So we are extending the back again, feeling the stretch on the front of the body. But if it's too much, it shouldn't be sore. A little bit of compression is what you should be feeling, but not that it's sore. Now, if this is not enough for you as well, what you can do is walk your hands out and to the side a little bit and come into seal position. But whatever you do, don't tense your bottom cheeks. Really tempting, because you maybe find that you're doing it and not even know that you're doing it. Relax your shoulders. So you're either in seal position or in Sphinx pose, just like this. And Sphinx should be as comfortable as you could maybe hold this for 3 minutes, 4 minutes. That's how comfortable it should be. So you should be feeling it, but you shouldn't be thinking, oh, when's this going to end? So it's not one of the more intense poses. It's actually a really nice yin pose. It's just so good for your back, so good for the front of your body as well. So lowering down to the mat, we're going to come up and do 3 baby cobras without our hands. Now if you find this a challenge without hands, please just put your hands in at the side of your chest here and use your hands to come up. But we're going to bring out cactus arms to the side here, head on the floor, and we're going to inhale, come up, chest and head off the floor and hands. Exhale, come back down. Inhale, come up. Exhale, back down. Inhale, coming up. And exhale, coming back down. Really nice for strengthening the back as well, that one, because our back muscles are firing up in order to lift us up off the floor. So we're going to do a locust pose here now as well. Okay, so you can keep your hands where you are for just now, and what you're going to do is keep your feet, they can be hip width apart, as close as you want to, but you're going to bring your feet off the floor, okay? You can rest your head in your hands if you want to, and we're just bringing it up, pausing here for a couple of breaths, and then coming back down again. So next time what you can do is you can lean on your head and involve your hands as well. So what you would do is when you come up, you bring your hands up too. Up to you. Just pausing here for a couple of breaths and then back down again. Last one, involve the hands if you want to. Coming up,
Pressing that pelvis into the floor, doesn't matter how far your feet come up. Don't bend your knees, keep the legs straight, and coming back down again. So from here, we're going to come into child's pose. Put your knees together, feet together, bum back as far as it comes. And this time it's a closed child's pose. We did the wide one before, but let's put our head on the floor and put your hands on the mat with your palms facing up. So you're curled up in a wee ball in child's pose. And this is really good for, well, having a rest. It feels really nice, doesn't it? Close your eyes, take a nice few deep breaths here. But if you can see yourself side on at the moment, you'll see that your spine is in a lovely flexion. It's coming forward, and we're just using gravity in your knees to do that, really. So not only are we flexing the spine, but we're also counterposing what we've just done. We've just done our Sphinx pose, our cobras, and our locust pose, which were all small back bends. So really good as a counter pose for all of that. Because whatever we do like to try and counter pose it and bring the body back to a little bit of balance. Taking nice big deep breaths. So, just coming up onto tabletop position again. And at this point, if you want to do a couple of cat-cows, feel free, okay? It's really nice for just resetting the spine and just sort of getting a little bit of movement back in after all those wee back bends and waking you up a little bit after the child's pose. We don't want to fall asleep completely, not yet. That's it. So we need to do that high lunge on the other side, okay? So coming up to downward dog, put your bottom right up and your heels back. Now remember, nice straight back, press that chest down, bend the knees if you need to, okay? And then we're just going to slowly walk up to the front of the mat, and we're going to do that ragdoll again, feet hip width apart, hold on to your elbows and hang there. Let it all hang out. Does not matter how much your knees are bent. You can have them straight as well if you want to. If you feel you really want a nice hamstring stretch, that's up to you. And then putting your fingertips on the floor, you're slowly going to roll back up. Lovely. So let's come to the front of the mat and step back with the right foot this time into that high lunge. Try and stay in the high lunge if you can, but remembering that back knee. This is fine, bending the back knee, okay, because you can see if you straighten it, you might get that wee curve in your back. So if that happens, then just keep your knee a little bit bent. So raise your hands up, put your back knee down if you need to. Okay, lengthen, dropping the tailbone as much as you can, encouraging the length in your spine. Nice big deep breaths. That's it. And then put your hands either side of that foot again and really come into your low lunge, dropping the hips, keeping the back straight, and then popping that left foot back and coming into plank pose. Okay, so pausing here, nice straight back, your knees might be down, even if your knees are down, your back's still straight. That's it, keep the elbows in and lower down to the floor. Then we're going to come up to a full cobra this time, so top of the feet on the floor, hands in at your rib cage, and lead with the back, sort of the upper back. That's it. Keep these elbows a little bit bent and relax your shoulders. And looking straight ahead. Then tuck the toes. Let's see if we can come straight up to a downward dog, or you can come into tabletop first. So bringing the hips up into downward dog again. So from here, we're just going to come down on our knees and sit on our bottoms. So we're going to do Dandasana, staff pose. So sitting on your bottom, seat bones should always be equal really when we're sitting on our bottoms. Now if sitting with your legs straight is too much for you, then have a wee bend in them, absolutely. But remember that bit of string. Dandasana staff pose is a bit like mountain pose while you're sitting down. So your feet are together, toes are flexed, your thighs are rolling in, you've got a lovely straight back, shoulders are relaxed, you're looking sort of just beyond your toes. Just rest your hands, you're not bracing out with your hands, rest them where they come to. And really focus on straightening your spine. And it requires a bit of effort to stay here. It does just look like sitting down, but it does require a little bit of effort, and your knees may be a little bit bent as well if your lower back gets a little bit sore.
Nice big deep breaths, just like we did in mountain pose when we were standing up. And then we're going to come to a nice forward fold, Paschimottanasana. So what you're going to do is bend your knees. If you can do this without bending your knees first, that's absolutely fine. You're going to take these peace fingers here, your first finger and second finger, hook them round your toes, okay? So you're in this sort of position. Try and keep this back straight, okay? Because it's very tempting when you're doing any sort of forward fold just to sort of let the head come to the knees. So gently just start straightening your legs to where they're going to come to, but keep your back straight. So your legs might not straighten that much at all, but that's okay. Bent knees is absolutely, this is fine, because you can see that your back's nice and straight when you're doing this one. If you can straighten them right out, then that's absolutely fine, okay? And just use your big toes, have a really nice firm grip on them, and just come as far forward as you want to come. You'll feel a big stretch up the back of your legs as well. That's it. And then you're just going to slowly come back up again. So we're going to come down onto our back now. Lying down on our back, we're going to do a couple of spinal twists here. So keeping your knees together, put your hands out to the side. Again, getting a nice wee rotation into your spine. Put your knees together and let them slowly start dropping over to the left, okay? But keep them together. Now, as soon as you start to feel that right shoulder coming off the floor, then stop your knees, okay? Because what we want is the twist. It doesn't matter how far your knees come down. So if you feel that right shoulder coming off, stop going as far. Just, that's fine. Because you're in a twist, it doesn't matter how much of a twist you're in a twist. So keep the shoulder blades on the floor. You can always turn your head to the right as well. Your knees are to the left, head is to the right if you want to. And then coming back up, bring your knees back up. And then the same to the other side, let them drop over to the right. Left shoulder blade stays to the floor. If they come to the floor, then that's fine. But coming over, feeling the side stretch. Nice big deep breaths. Nice stretch of the torso, but also the rotation into the spine. Coming back up again. And then what we're going to do is bring our knees into our chest. Hold on to your knees, or you can hold on to the back of your thighs, okay? Getting a nice flexion in the spine, but we're on our back doing it this time. So just rolling side to side if you want to. That wee sort of gentle roll side to side, really nice for the back. Gives it a wee massage. That's it, stretching the spine out. And then we're going to come into our Shavasana. So, coming into Shavasana position, get yourself nice and warm as well. Just put your feet out to the side of the mat and the top of the hands on the floor, okay? So take a minute to settle in. If it's a problem for you to lie on your back, you can always bend your knees, no problem at all, and you can knock them together. So bring your feet to the side of the mat and your knees in, because it just makes it a little bit more restful for you. So just having a wee focus on your spine. Feel the top of your spine probably pressing into the mat. That's it. Trying to press your lower back into the floor slightly, not too much. And just feeling your nice heavy body on the mat. And just letting your breath go. Doesn't need to be doing anything special. And we're going to have a nice Shavasana, a nice restful period to let your body recuperate, restore, and just relax.
So just starting to bring your awareness back into the room, maybe wriggling your hands and your feet, whatever way feels nice for you to start waking back up again. And maybe just bending your knees, having a stretch. It's a really personal thing, but rolling onto your side first before you come up, okay? Just really pausing and taking your time. And just using your hand to push you up, taking it easy. Try not to get rid of that nice, relaxed feeling. That's it, sitting up. Put your hands at your heart. You can shut your eyes at this point if you want, remember, and have a nice, upward axial extension of the spine always while you're sitting. Create the space. And just take a moment to appreciate how your body's feeling now as opposed to how it felt when we started. Hopefully feels a lot nicer. And we will finish with a namaste. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope this practice heals and strengthens your body and your mind. Namaste. Thank you so much. Always a pleasure. If you enjoyed this, please go and have a look at the other videos that we've got. There's usually something for everyone, kids, teens, adults as well. And I hope your spine is feeling a little bit looser too. And hopefully we will see you again for another yoga class. See you later.